Thank you so much for tuning in to Teaching for the Culture. This is your host, Bianca Goolsby, and I am so excited to have this guest here to be featured as one of our change agents with Teaching for the Culture. When I tell you, I met David in the community work, in the activist work, and he is phenomenal. So I want to turn it over to him so that he can explain more about him, what he does, and let's just dive into it. So, what's up, David?
Hey, I'm excited to be here. I'm like, all right. The culture, big
So
fan.
tell people about you.
David Caicedo. I use he, him, ellos pronouns. The first U.S. born son to Afro-Colombian immigrants that migrated here in the mid to late 80s. And born and raised right in Brooklyn, New York. Shout out BK. Um, and really growing up having that immigrant experience, right, with like the Black experience of growing up in Brownsville, Brooklyn really shaped a lot of the way that I see power, right, and the way that I see the need for us to build power for marginalized communities. Um, and that's a big motivating factor for me. And then a little bit more how I ended up in Florida. I'm also the co-director of the Florida Student Power Network. And in 2016, really out of the crisis of Trump becoming the nominee for president, I just kind of was working for City Hall in New York and was like, all right, I can't be doing this. I need to be using my talents where they're very much needed. And the opportunity came for me to come to Florida to start youth, right? It wasn't even an organization, just like a youth vote program that was going to last until that cycle. But here I am, right? 6 years later. Uh, we all know the results, but young people across Florida, lots of amazing movement builders across Florida were like, you need to stay and you should stay and continue to build this out to see what the potential is. And it's a decision that I don't regret at all.
That is amazing. I just thank you for the work that you do. And we actually connected work-wise with Teaching for the Culture when it
Yeah.
came to school board. And you having groups of students talk about school board politics and its importance. And so I just thank you for that. So quick question for you. What does freedom and fulfillment look like for you?
Mm. Freedom and fulfillment. What a great question. Well, freedom to me is not having to be scared, right? Not having to live with the fear of being persecuted or oppressed for being your full self and being able to express yourself fully, right? And to be able to work towards your full potential without the fear of oppression, right? Or like the isms, right?
Yeah.
Racism, sexism, all of the isms, right? Ableism working against you. So that's what freedom is to me. And fulfillment is being able to be content with what you do and like really receiving satisfaction in what you do and the way that you live your life.
I love it. So, with that question, what is your vision and hope for the state of Florida?
I'm gonna keep it 100. That we get all of these white supremacists out of office. Really, there is Florida is the personification of this patriarchal, sexist, white supremacist, capitalist society that we live in. And my freedom dream, right, is that we get rid of all of these folks and that we replace them not with people that are trying to please, not with people that are on the come up, not with people that are just in it for the power grab, but with people that actually want to change the conditions of marginalized people. That we really find the leadership to the point where those being oppressed in the state, those living in really undignified conditions, are able to get the support that they really need in order to get out of it.
Yeah. I like that. And I thank you for the work that you do every single day to help shape the state of Florida, because we are in a crisis, and you have been mobilizing groups of students and organizations and organizers from across the state of Florida to really shift this trajectory of where we're at in the state. And so I thank you and applaud you for that. So my question is, how can the community support you in the work that you're doing?
So, the work of Florida Student Power Network, we work on issue based and electoral campaigns with young people, mostly Black and Brown and queer, right? And other young people with like marginalized identities. And really to show them that we have a voice and that we really do have power, right? It's in the name Florida Student Power Network.
Right.
And it's young people ages 15 to 25, mostly form our membership of folks. And we do work around three main issues: migrant justice, which is right DACA, undocumented TPS recipients, really on how are migrant youth impacted, and how do we really change the conditions that folks are living in. The next issue is education justice, which, right, we talk about it all the time. The school boards are like a really important key. How do we really get police out of schools that is not serving anyone, actually adding to the problem? Really, also around student debt, a lot of work is happening. And really responding to moments that happen with our education justice program. Like last year, January 26th, when two students on the exact same day, one in Osceola County and one in Lake County, were attacked by school resource officers. On one, they were knocked unconscious by the school resource officer, and in the other, they were tased multiple times by the school. Both incidents, it was black girls, young black girls, a freshman and I think a sophomore at the school. And those kind of things shouldn't be happening, right? So really, how do
Right.
we respond in moments like that and really let those communities of folks that are impacted know that they're not alone, and that that shouldn't be happening in the schools at all, right? And especially with the level of disparities that exist, especially against black girls. So really responding to moments like that, building power to avoid moments like that, are what we're doing with our education justice program. And then the last issue, right? Climate and environmental justice. I don't got to say it. The climate crisis. Maybe I do got to say it because so many people ain't believe in it, right? But part of that crisis isn't just the ozone, right? Isn't just the sea levels rise, isn't just the flooding, but it's really that our communities don't have what we need to be successful with this climate crisis, right? Why are there not? There's still poor Black and Brown communities that don't have proper evacuation routes, right? There's schools and communities of folks that don't have what they need to be disaster resilient, right? When these storms happen. There's so many folks that have so many needs, and we really need to be working towards that, right? And like really holding those polluter industries accountable too, right? Because there's also, again, that money in politics is quite the problem, especially here in Florida, where we see polluter industries, right? Plastics, fossil fuels, sugar cane, dumping polluted water into, right? Polluted water into our lakes, into our rivers, and it's really having a horrible detrimental impact on our community. So also that piece of how are we holding those most responsible for creating this crisis accountable and reversing those changes.
I just thank you again for all of your hard work and mobilizing students and getting folks involved and having folks being intentional with all of these systems, because you are absolutely right. There's a lot of things that we can be intentional with and focused on, and we all need to do it as a village. And so I thank you for creating those villages across the state to where we can really make change. And so I will make sure that your information is on our website so people can find you and connect with you, and also connect with the Florida Student Power Network as well, so that they can see the great work that y'all are doing there. So I want to,
I
yeah,
gotta think. You're saying think. I gotta thank and shout out right our staff. We have amazing issue-based coordinators. We have an amazing statewide membership coordinator, right? My co-director Ana Guevara. Most of our staff actually at one point were fellows also in the organization and have really come up throughout the years. So I feel like they've also seen the evolution of the organization, right? To like really building out the statewide membership from a fellowship program and my own evolution, right? As a leader, as I like am unlearning so much of like the patriarchy, right? That's in me, so much like of the white supremacy in me. And it's just really been like the evolution. And that wouldn't have happened without all of like the literally like hundreds of young people across the state that are really grinding and are so powerful.
that's amazing. So, this is what I want to end with. I want to give you the floor to just share whatever it is that's on your heart, to connect with the viewers that are watching. So, I'm going to turn it to you.
Okay. So this is in my heart. I don't know. Do you know Mary Hooks?
Yes.
Mary Hooks with Movement for Black Lives, right? Mary Hooks has this mandate, which is like the mandate for Black people right now is to avenge the suffering of our ancestors, to
Mm.
earn the respect of future generations, and to be transformed in the service of the work. And those words just really ring true for me, especially in the times that we're living in, that we really have to be looking towards a queer Black feminist lens, right? We really do have to see how do the most vulnerable, how are those most impacted able to wield the power that they do have? How do we change the conditions for these folks so that they can actually live their lives to their full potential? And we're working on that with the Florida Student Power Network, moving towards that politic, moving towards an abolitionist future, right? Moving towards an imagination that, moving towards a future that doesn't exist, that really requires a radical imagination. So I'm just thankful to be here, thankful for folks like you, right, and your wife, and that are really also out here doing the amazing work that it takes to and courageous work that it takes to actually stand up to these power structures that are working against us, right? And not trying to have us live our full potentials. Because, like people always say, right, these systems were not made for us. But here we are doing what we do and really trying to take over.
That's right. That's right. And that's really powerful. So y'all heard it. Make sure that y'all take care of yourself. Thank y'all for tuning in to Teaching for the Culture. And please make sure that you check out our new change agent that is out here in the community doing the work. And until next time,